Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Mountain Plains Minority Supplier Development Council Access Opportunity Event with the University of Nebraska. We are so pleased that you have joined us today. You are in for a real treat. My name is Belinda Hooks. I serve as the market president for this great organization, and I have the pleasure of introducing our first speaker. But before I do that, just one thing that I want you to know, or maybe two things. This presentation is being recorded. And so for those of you who have registered and that are attending today, you will be able to get a copy of this presentation later. In addition to that, you have the opportunity during this presentation. I'm hoping that you'll take great notes. And at the end of this presentation, if time permits, we want to make sure that any questions that are submitted, that we have the opportunity to answer those particular questions. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. Let me introduce to you none other than Maggie Witt, Director, UNL Procurement Services and Strategic Sourcing. Maggie today is responsible for procurement and strategic sourcing at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. Maggie's career path in procurement and supply chain has spanned several industries, including insurance, banking, printing, packaging, retail services, consumer packaged goods, and higher education, and at organizations that you might be familiar with, including the Mutual of Omaha, Staples, ConAgra Foods, and most recently, the University of Nebraska. Her experience includes leading a wide array of teams and initiatives involving procurement and sourcing process excellence, supplier diversity, and e-procurement transformation. Maggie achieved her lifetime CPM certification in 2001 from the Institute of Supply Management, and in 2007 was invited to join the ISM Committee for defining key benchmark criteria for their new CPSM certification. Without further ado, Maggie Witt. Maggie?
Thank you so much, Belinda. I'm going to do a quick check to make sure that that the audience can hear me today. It's a pleasure to be here. And I'm the humble representative that gets to kick off a roster of wonderful people that you get to meet today. But definitely a huge thanks to Belinda and our friends at the Mountain Plains Council for sponsoring this event on behalf of the University of Nebraska. We are very honored to be here. I have the pleasure and honor to introduce your first speaker today, and her name is Carol Kirchner. And Carol is our, hang on, let me make sure this slide goes. Hopefully that worked. I'm trying to run technology and talk at the same time. That's a dangerous thing, audience. But Carol is our Associate Vice President for Business and Finance here at the University of Nebraska, and is also the chair for the Supply Chain Council. All of your presenters today, by the way, are members of the Supply Chain Council. We'll talk a little bit about our procurement operations as we go through, but Carol is a certified public accountant and has been the Associate Vice President for Business and Finance since November of 2018 at the University's Central Administration offices. Her responsibilities include ITS Finance, as technology folks, and administration, the travel office for the university, and the Supply Chain Council. She is a Maverick and a Husker. And a clue for those of you, a Maverick is our UNO campus and a Husker is Lincoln, having earned an MBA at UNO in 1999 and a Bachelor of Science degree in Business Administration from UNL in '91. Carol started her career with the University of Nebraska on the Medical Center campus, where she spent nearly 20 years holding several positions, including controller, director of accounting and business systems, and internal audit manager. Prior to joining Central Administration, she was also on the Omaha campus for 4.5 years, serving as the Associate Vice Chancellor for Business and Finance. I can't say more except that she's also a wonderful person. Let me introduce Carol Kirchner, please. Carol, to you.
Thank you, Maggie.
You're
Can
welcome.
everybody hear me okay? Wonderful. Hey, it is a great pleasure to be here this afternoon with all of you virtually. I'm thrilled to have the opportunity to introduce you to the University of Nebraska and all the great folks that we have that work here. To begin with, the university's mission through its 4 campuses, strives to be the best public university in the country as measured by the impact we have on our people and our state, and through them, the world. We are one university, 4 campuses, 1 Nebraska. Today, the University of Nebraska is made up of 4 campuses with unique missions and strengths. It's comprised of a land-grant flagship campus in Lincoln, an academic medical center in Omaha, a metropolitan campus serving urban residents in Omaha, and a rural campus focused on undergraduates in Kearney. Working side by side, each of the 4 campuses accomplishes more than if they worked alone. This collaboration benefits not only Nebraska, but creates a greater impact for our nation and our world. You are going to have the opportunity to virtually meet the procurement offices from each of the campuses this afternoon. As a member of the National Association of Educational Procurement, we follow the NAEP Code of Ethics. The university is a nonprofit 501c3 corporation with sales tax exemption. Details and additional valuable information can be found on the campus's procurement office websites. So without further delay, it is now my pleasure to introduce my colleague at the University of Nebraska System Office, Stancia Whitcomb Jenkins.
Good afternoon, everyone. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes.
Awesome.
I'd like to tell a little bit more about Stancia.
Yes.
Stancia reports, don't be shy, reporting to the president. Stancia is the associate to the president and assistant vice president for diversity, access, and inclusion for the University of Nebraska system. She provides leadership in developing and implementing policies, practices, and initiatives that enhance access, inclusion, and retention of a diverse faculty, staff, and student body. She also assesses high-impact strategies, programs, and activities to promote diversity, access, and inclusion across the university in the 3 mission areas of teaching, research, and service. Prior to the University of Nebraska, Stancia spent 14 years at the University of Missouri, Kansas City. While there, she developed and executed a memorandum of understanding with the Federal Department of Justice to address diversity, access, and inclusion concerns and implemented a Chancellor's Lecture Series on the nation's changing demographics and the impact on education, economics, and business. Stancia holds a bachelor's degree in journalism and advertising from the University of Kansas and a master's degree in public affairs with a focus on business and government relations from Park University. She is a qualified administrator and interpreter of the Intercultural Development Inventory, designed for intercultural developmental of individuals, group training, and organizational change efforts. She holds a diversity and inclusion certification from Cornell University School of Industrial and Labor Relations and a Tier 1 Supplier Diversity certification from the National Association of Educational Procurement. She is also a SHRM Certified Talent Acquisition Specialist. So no further ado, we'll turn it over to Stancia.
Well, that was quite the introduction. Thank you, Carol. She did every bit of it. Pleasure to be here today with the team and with Mountain Plains, and we've been looking forward to this opportunity to engage with all of you. A little bit of background about me. I am a Kansas City native, but I've had the pleasure of serving in this role for 4 years. I've been here since August of 2016, and part of my role is also making sure that everyone is set up for success with the University of Nebraska, regardless of those personal dimensions of diversity. But we understand also here at University of Nebraska the importance of working with partners to achieve our goals, and particularly as that relates to diversity and inclusion and supplier diversity, because that is one of our priority areas. So on a day-to-day basis, a lot of my work, other than the day-to-day diversity and inclusion activities that might take place across the campuses, is the opportunity to take a look at our policies, our practices, our procedures that we might want to either shift, implement, or elevate in order to meet those D&I goals that we have. Some of those policies and practices and procedures also are in alignment with our supplier diversity program, which we took a look at how we reached out to diverse suppliers about a year ago when we brought that that particular policy online, and we'll talk a little bit about that later on in the presentation today, and we'll come back to that later. You know, Nebraska is always about living the good life, and we want to make sure that everyone has access to creating opportunity and access to opportunity to create that good life here in the state of Nebraska. And part of that is being able to do business, particularly for our minority and women-owned businesses with the University of Nebraska. And that's why our relationship with Mountain Plains is so very important. As was mentioned earlier, we have 4 campuses. I get to interact with each of those, each of them with their distinct personalities. Some of the things we have in common are that need to educate, student and faculty success, our commitment to research and business operations. And as we talk about some of those things that we have in common as a public land grant institution, I can't emphasize enough the whole role of access, which is what our commitment to supplier diversity is about. We want businesses to have access to opportunity to do business with our organization so that everyone can enjoy that great life. We have UNMC, which is our academic medical center. We have UNK, which offers a more private liberal arts type feel. And we have UNL, which is our land grant flagship campus. As Maggie mentioned earlier, those are the Huskers, if you're a football fan. And then we also have UNO, which is our metropolitan serving organization, our institution, which is located in Omaha, which is the home of the Mavericks. And working side by side and as one Nebraska, as Carol mentioned earlier, we can achieve so much more. So with that, I've spoken enough. I'm going to kick it back off to Maggie. And thank you, Belinda, for giving that great introduction for Maggie, who is had a breadth of experience that's valuable to us in the supplier diversity field and as a certified certified purchasing manager. So Maggie, I will push it off to you at this point.
It's an honor. Thank you, Stancia and Carol. And I will add that this is one of the finest groups of people I've ever worked with here that are on this call presenting to you today from the Supply Chain Council. So, you know, get to know us all. We're gonna have some Q&A at the end, and hopefully you'll know us a lot better after we tell you more about ourselves. I not only have a certified purchasing manager designation, but I have a tier 1 certification through the NAEP for supplier diversity. And also, I'm just one more plug for the council. This Mountain Plains Council is one of the best I've ever worked with in my 35-year professional procurement career. So we feel we have a great guide for our path forward in diversity and in access and inclusion for our suppliers. So a little more about me. We're just busy here getting ready for, you know, lots of PPE. In fact, right up until this meeting, I was worrying about where are we going to get the next, our next order of masks and things like that. I know Lynn and Robert and Scott on the other campuses are all dealing with some of the change, the craziness that this has impacted our worlds as it has yours as suppliers. But, you know, that's a great thing about that is we got to pause and take a chance to get to know you. And we want you to get to know us. So first off, I'm honored, as I said, to be with this group. We'd like to say through the Supply Chain Council that there are 4 doorways into our operations, our procurement services organization. And you're going to hear from all of them. You're going to hear from Kearney and Omaha, the medical center, and we'll tell you more about Lincoln. We're all great. We're all a little competitive. That's kind of a cool thing. I think that's great. I think it helps us be better, and we are better together, and we buy a lot of stuff, okay? We buy such a diverse array of products and services. It's like serving 4 cities, okay? So if you haven't worked with higher education or institutions of this nature before, you're in for a treat because we need pretty much everything. And so we know it's not easy to navigate the depth and breadth of a complex organization like ours. But we want you to know that we're open for business and we're very interested in learning more about you. And by the way, this list is not exhaustive. It could go on forever if we tried. But I don't want to belabor the opportunity to introduce you to the first campus. Representing Kearney, I'm going to be introducing you to Scott Benson. And Scott, if you don't mind, I'd like to share a little bit about you before the group comes on, before you come on. Scott has lived in the Midwest his entire life, and he truly enjoys what we call is the good life, as Stancia said. He attended South Dakota State University and attained a BS in sociology with an HR emphasis. In 2009, he graduated from Kearney, UNK, with a master's in business administration, emphasizing human resources. His full-time employment has been with Kearney ever since, the University of, 6 years with the Office of Residence Life and transitioning to serve as the Assistant Director in Business Services in the fall of 2013. He primarily worked with contract negotiations, food services, and business plan development while also overseeing the UNK Child Development Center. In 2016, he moved into the director role, overseeing procurement and payment services for UNK. 2017, he added HR as an interim, and in 2018, it was made permanent as part of his position. So Scott is like pulling a lot of duty there. Scott enjoys working with people. I think we can all vouch for that. Understanding the numbers and a good conflict keeps him on his toes, he is a problem solver at heart, Scott says. Scott's wife, Abby, and he have 3 beautiful children, almost 4 years old, and 5 years old. So life is never dull at the Benson house. Please meet Scott Benson.
Great, thank you, Maggie. I appreciate that kind introduction, and it's a pleasure to be here this afternoon. Welcome from the middle of the country, Kearney, Nebraska. Ultimately, my experience in purchasing, well, really, I had no intentions of going into purchasing at all as a professional career. Just kind of fell into that by accident. And so kind of put 2 and 2 together. I guess in my personal life, I'm always looking up multiple sources on where I can purchase things for myself. So why not do that for a living? Sounded like a great idea. At the end of the day, I think effective communication and efficiency are essential into what we do. And I've always been the type to try to over communicate as much as we possibly can. I think it's good to share the primary reason that I'm supportive of this initiative, and ultimately it has to do with opening the several doors to increase the university's sourcing possibilities, which is mutually beneficial to both you as the supplier and us as the university. We know, and I try to always put myself into your shoes, and it's difficult to make the right connection at the university. I get hundreds of emails every week, just opportunities and whatnot, and some of those go right into the junk folder, some of those get responded to. So our goal is to really provide the right avenues for suppliers to connect with us, and I think that's going to be helpful to everybody in the long run. I thought it'd be appropriate to share a little bit about UNK. We have 3 colleges, 170 majors, and 20 pre-professional programs. We consist of 5,000 undergraduate students and 1,600 graduate students. Over 50 foreign countries are represented. We are known for our partnership with the UNMC Medical Center. They have a building here in Kearney. The Teachers College is kind of how UNK was founded. And recently we've put up a STEM building, a science, technology, engineering, and math building. And actually the furniture is being delivered there as of this morning, and so that's a really good sign for us. So how does purchasing happen at UNK? I want to dive into a little bit of the nuts and bolts of how we function here in Kearney. Ultimately, we have about $27 million of manageable spend, and that's where we'll connect you with, or where we have our prime vendors, and we have our catalog vendors, and then we go into a little bit more with departments really have a lot of flexibility here because we don't have a lot of purchases that meet our bid limit. We'll probably get to that a little bit more coming down the pike. Ultimately, all purchasing flows through our office, excluding ITS and facilities purchases. We do have about 110 departments. And so again, I think a lot of the purchasing really happens at that level, as a majority of our purchases don't get to that $150,000 bid limit that we have within our policies and procedures. And so we work with those departments to help make those decisions. And so what I'm here today is to help connect you with Kim Christensen, who's our buyer, and myself, in terms of how do you meet those department heads making the decisions. We're happy to help navigate those waters and connect you with those folks to expand our purchasing opportunities. So as you can see, our contact information is up on the screen. Give us a call, shoot us an email. We'll be happy to help get you pointed in the right direction here. In terms of bids, we have had a handful of bids. Again, not a lot of activity. A couple things we've bid over the last few years: bus transportation, food service, beverage rights, a bank card opportunity. As you can see, it's a wide variety of different things, and for Kearney, it just really depends on what's happening that given year. No year is exactly the same, and so you never know what opportunity is going to be out there. We post all bid opportunities on the website. You can just type in bidding from unk.edu, and you'll see what opportunities are out there. In terms of reaching out to us, again, reach out, give us a call, shoot us an email. We'll be happy to respond to you. But I'll go ahead and continue with the presentation here, and I'm going to introduce Lynn McAlpine. Lynn grew up in Sioux City, Iowa. She graduated from the University of Nebraska at Omaha with a degree in marketing, finance, and banking. For 10 plus years, Lynn worked in retail management. In 2014, Lynn transitioned to a procurement position with Nebraska Medicine. Since 2015, Lynn has served as the Senior Procurement Systems Coordinator for the University of Nebraska at Omaha, where she serves as the jack of all trades procurement professional for the UNO campus, and I can definitely attest to that. Lynn currently serves as the president of the National Association of Educational Procurement Great Plains Region. In her spare time, Lynn enjoys spending time with her family, gardening, and walking her dogs. Thank you for joining us, Lynn. I'll hand it over to you.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you. I think I'm going to echo what you said. I don't know that I ever intended to, I can't say that when I was 10 years old, I ever thought I'm going to be a procurement professional when I grow up. I just kind of landed on it, but it's a great place to be. So a little bit about the University of Nebraska, Omaha. We like to call the entire city of Omaha our campus. We are known as the Metropolitan University for University of Nebraska. We have over 15,000 students with 6 colleges and over 200 majors available. Our academic priorities are STEM, so science, technology, engineering, math, early childhood and child welfare development, sustainability, and doctoral research. And of course, we do a lot on the UNO campus with global engagement. Much like Kearney's campus, a lot of our spend occurs on the UNO campus at the individual department levels. So anything below $150,000 is primarily worked through with comparable quotations, and anything over $150,000 is where my office gets involved. We are always looking for suppliers who are interested in partnering with us. And there are opportunities for you to get a hold of us through 2 primary methods. And the first is, if you have not yet, please register on our e-bidding tool. And this tool is great, and it is almost a one-shop, easy-click stop for you as a supplier, because when you register on eBid, it's housed, currently sitting on the Lincoln's campus website. But when you register for that one site, you're going to get access to all of our bidding opportunities on the UNO campus, the Lincoln campus, and the UNMC campus. So definitely get out there and click as soon as possible. And a second great way for you to get involved on our campus is our supplier showcase. And these are big vendor fairs that we try and host at least once a year. And we love them because it is a great opportunity to get our suppliers face to face with our customers, your customers, our end users, who have immediate needs for products. And so it's just a great way to connect and get to know face to face. If you ever need anything or are interested in talking to me or anybody in my office on the UNO campus, please don't hesitate. I think email is always my preferred method, just because Zoom seems to be, or on web meetings seem to be pretty prevalent right now. And so it's kind of difficult for me to pick up the phone, but I can answer an email at any time, and I do. So please, if you need anything or have questions, contact me. It is now my pleasure to introduce to you Robert Jennings, who is the Director of Procurement and Materials Management on the UNMC campus. Robert graduated from Indiana University with a BS in Criminal Justice. In 1987, he joined the U.S. Navy and commissioned as an officer in 1988. He served for 27 years on active duty as a supply officer and retired in 2013 with the rank of captain. He joined UNMC in 2013 as the manager of materials management. In 2017, he started as the director of procurement. He holds a master's degree from the Naval Postgraduate School in Government Contracting and has a graduate certificate in supply chain management from UNL.
Thank you, Lynn, for the introduction. The other people have all talked about how they've got into procurement. Anybody that's on this phone call, if they've ever been in the military, know that once you join up, they pretty much tell you what you're going to do. So that's how I got into procurement. So 27 years ago, the U.S. Navy said you will become a supply officer, and here I am. And it's been a great ride. It's been enjoyable, and I've learned a lot. Here at UNMC, we are, like they said, a medical academic university. We have 6 different colleges: College of Medicine, Nursing, Public Health, Allied Health, Dentistry, and Pharmacy. We do not have a very large student population, but they do very important things. We are connected at the hip with Nebraska Medicine. If you're ever on the University of Nebraska Medical Center campus, you really can't tell the difference between what's Nebraska Medicine and what's the university, because we work very much in lockstep. We send all of our students over to Nebraska Medicine for our clinical trials or clinical needs to get the students through, get what they need so that they can graduate and become health professionals. Here at University of Nebraska in the procurement department, I am the director, and I also do materials management. So I do all the logistics on the campus, including print, parking, warehousing, and shipping and receiving. And I also do the shipping, receiving, warehousing, and the mail for the University of Omaha. I do have a contracts manager, Victoria. She's very well versed in contracts. She worked at Nebraska Medicine for a while, and she came over and started working at the University of Nebraska Medical Center. We have 2 buyers that are on our staff. One takes care of all of our scientific type buys, and then the other one takes care of facilities buys, takes care of IT buys, and anything else that comes up that he needs to apply any attention to. Can I have the next slide, please?
Yes, sir.
On the next slide, we also use the e-bid tool just like UNL and UNO. We've all gone in together. It's under the Ion Wave software package. So you click on to the link that I provided, and it will get you in. You have to sign up, and once you get your login, once you go in, you can see all the bids out there that we have for all 3 campuses. We would love to have more people come in and bid. We think the more bidders we have, the better product we get and the better price we get. So if you have any type of business that you want to go out there and look, please get your login and sign in and start bidding away. I mean, we would really appreciate that. We do supplier showcases. We do a couple a year. The first one, we do it with UNO, actually over on the UNO campus. That's more of a general vendors type showcase. So it's usually in March, If you would like to participate, all you have to do is drop me an email. I gave you my email address on the prior slide. We'll be more than happy to point you in the right direction. There's a small fee to get a table in the venue so we can pay for it, but that allows you direct direct contact with our customers. You can talk about your product and gin up some business. The second one we do is here at UNMC, and it's scientific vendors. It's the same thing. You drop me an email. It's in the May time frame. Be more than happy to help set you up and get you in the door. And we bring customers from all of our research areas on campus, and they come in and they look for different scientific things, test tubes to equipment to whatever they need. So if you're in that line of business, please get a hold of us, and we'll be more than happy to get you hooked up into those showcases. If you would like to just talk to UNMC, please contact me or Victoria. Be more than happy to set up some time with you, spend 30 minutes with you, talk to you about what the opportunities are. And we talk with all of our customers on a daily basis. Like all the other campuses, most of the spend is done at their level, but they're always looking for new vendors. They're always sending us emails wanting to know if we know someplace where they can get something. So if you've got a product, you get it in front of us, we'll be more than happy to put your name out there and let our customers make the choice. And that's the end of my part of it, so I'm going to pass it back to Maggie, and she's going to finish up the slideshow. Thank you very much for allowing me to attend, and if you have any questions, please email me. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert. I appreciate that. All I can say is ditto to everyone right now, because there's a heck of a lot that goes on. As I said earlier, it's like running cities, individual, but collaborative, all part of the state of Nebraska and part of the Nebraska State College system as well. Interestingly enough, I don't even have a slide on this today, but I want to make sure you all understand that as a part of the state college system, there are other colleges in Nebraska that we try to help where we can. The whole system, not just Lincoln, the Med Center. If you've heard us already talking about the collaboration, I think it's really important for you to be aware that, if we see opportunities for products to be used on other campuses, we do a lot more collaboration through the Supply Chain Council, and we really, and everyone's talking about that. I just want to make sure y'all understand. You go in through one doorway, even if it isn't necessarily good on that campus or something, we're going to make sure we share that with one another. And we'll have more conversations after that when we set up some follow-up calls. What you're looking at here is a screenshot of the website for the Lincoln campus for the Procurement Services and Strategic Sourcing Department. We're kind of proud of what we do, like everyone else. A look at the team. There's quite a bit of experience. I think if you added it up for the entire supply chain organization for the university, I would say we probably bust 300 years or more in combined experience. The faces that you see on this particular slide are on the call. Many of them are on the call today, listening in like you. And my assistant director, Sarah Luther, manager of contracts, Julie Snyder. Scott Stremick is our senior manager over technology procurement. Mary Mittler she's worked on multiple campuses. She's our manager of systems and data analysis. And then we have buyers and contract support at the bottom of the page here. Teresa recently joined us. Teresa Fleming is over professional services and also she's also managing, and that's a broad category by itself. She's also managing agriculture operations. We have a huge research operation in ag on the Lincoln campus, but it's not just on the campus, it's all across the state. Dustin Kodik oversees facilities procurement, and he collaborates with the other campuses because our facilities operations at the university are connected. So we try as procurement teams to collaborate with procurement on the other campuses when projects are out there. Can you hear me all right? I just want to check for the sound. Clipped in?
Yes,
is my sound okay?
We're good.
Good. Okay. I heard a little feedback. Sorry. Sydney Zock, who's our scientific lab and research buyer and also fills in some other places as needed, and they all do. Jessica Meerhoff is food and furniture. Julie Hopp is a specialist on our contracts team. I didn't have a picture of her teammate Erin, or I would have popped it up here. And then Claudette Viskup, who supports the technology procurement operations, but frankly, Claudette has so much experience in procurement, she buys a little of everything else too. And then Emily Beatty recently joined our team and has made herself absolutely invaluable as our project coordinator and all things special needs. We get a lot of support from Emily. All of these people will be involved in some of our future discussions when we join up on subsequent calls. A little about Lincoln, the Lincoln campus. It was chartered in 1869, and it's a pretty big deal. They think they're a pretty big deal. We're Huskers, and we're proud of it. We're a member of the Big Ten Conference, and kind of the cool thing that comes along with that is also partnership within the Big Ten Academic Alliance, which is an affiliation, an adjacency to the Big Ten Conference that allows us to collaborate in all types of areas, including procurement. So it's really a wonderful opportunity for the University of Nebraska to take advantage of this doorway through the UNL University campus, if you will. We're an R1 doctoral university. We do a lot of research here. As was mentioned before, land grant university, and we are a member of the, there you go, the APLU. I guess I'd just say that I was a Husker before I came to work for the Huskers. It's a wonderful place to be because you can see the product walking around on the campuses. It's very inspiring to be around all of the research and innovation that goes on every day at a university, and we're excited about the return to campus this fall. Going on, we do have a page on our website for our suppliers. Like everyone said, we share the eBid system, and it is an ION-Wave platform. If you aren't familiar with e-commerce, it's one of the easiest to use, as Robert said, and Lynn. It's very slick. Get yourself in there and you have access to all of us. So if you're not already, make sure you register today. It's very simple. We have links on the pages below that you will get copies of this presentation, so you can follow these links to get registered. We also host showcase events, and by the way, we like to go and visit the other campus showcase events too. And I just want you to be aware that we welcome all suppliers and really strive to establish partnerships. It's good for our business, it's good for our campus, it's good for the people that are decision makers on the campuses to know we have a wide variety of capable, talented suppliers to do business with. And I think it helps to have some new innovative companies in the mix as well, not just the same businesses they've always worked with. So we welcome you. A little bit about how the buyers are spread, by categories. This doesn't do justice, actually, because so our website link here will tell you more about who supports what. That doesn't mean that somebody can't step in and support another person. We're actually 3 deep in every category. And then we also try to just make sure you get introduced to the right people so that if you're looking to sell something, we'll try our best, like the other campuses, to connect you with the right people that need your products and services. So at a minimum, we just want you to please stay in touch and stay in contact with us. Our website, there's another link to it. We have a newsletter. If you'd like to see the newsletter, we'd love to get you on the list. Our team directory, and it gives you their direct phone numbers as well as their email addresses on that link there as well. We have a general email box, and it is better if you schedule an in-person meeting. As Robert said and Lynn said, just let us know in advance that you want to schedule something, but if we can do that, we will make that happen. So you've met us all, and I just now what I'd like to do is tell you let's get down to the business side of things. It might be a little repetitive, so I'll go through this quickly to what everyone said before, but we all ascribe to the same policies and guidelines. We are part of the state, and we have a board of regents that sets policies in place that are governed, you know, they're elected officials, and our Bible of procurement policies is chapter 6.2.1 of the Board of Regents policies. And if you want to read it sometime, you can go out to nebraska.edu and look at it and download all 265 pages or more, or 290 some, and just, I would say, focus on 6.2.1. But these are the rules that we are obligated to follow on behalf of the university. The bylaws, they're an additional subset of documents, but a really important one that Stancy will talk about a little bit later is Executive Memorandum 21 that was just ratified in August of 2019 by our then interim president, Susan Fritz. And it's one of the reasons why we're so proud to talk about our commitment to supplier diversity, access, and inclusion. So I won't steal Stancia's thunder, but just want to tee up for that. A reminder to visit our campus websites. We have specific policies and guidelines there that might be unique to our specific missions. We also have contracts on each campus that are managed there and then centrally. We have all POs and contracts. Basically, we're a public information state. I think the guidance is FOIA, Freedom of Information Act. All purchase orders, contracts, et cetera, are uploaded to the state of Nebraska. You can get to that link from our website as well, and likely the other procurement websites too. So if you're looking for information about stuff we purchased previously, or you want more data, that might be a good topic if you're looking for what is it they buy. Oh wow, they've got a contract for this. If that helps you understand when that contract might expire, when it might be up for bid again, or something like that. And then our purchase terms and conditions that govern all of our purchases are shared across the university, and there's a link on this page for you as well. 3 ways to buy at the university according to policy: PO, contract, or P-card. And the rules around those follow board thresholds for signature authority. Again, this is the dry part of the presentation, so please don't go to sleep on me. But departments have authority up to a certain level, and then they need to get procurement services much more involved when it comes to bids, when the cost or estimated cost may exceed $150,000. So there's a lot of business going on below that $150,000 threshold. And then there's some special rules around anything over that regarding bids and approvals from the board. Not that you need to understand all of those, but I will tell you that it does make a purchase a little more complicated when you get into some big dollars, and we just want to make sure you're knowledgeable of that, because if you want to be a supplier to the university, it helps you to understand some of the requirements that we're expected to maintain for our organization. Now I'd like to talk briefly about our e-commerce. We want to make it easy to do business with our suppliers, and some of the best people I've worked with in this area here at the university. Lynn, being the president of the NAEP, is extremely knowledgeable about eShop and oversees the committee, works with the committee that works on eShop very closely, as do other team members across all of our campuses. This is just an overview of the workflow process, but it's much simpler for our customers, our stakeholders, to use eShop than it is in often ways for them to try to figure out how to buy something. And if some suppliers are enabled and are eligible to host catalogs, we can talk more about those when we have a sit-down discussion. But suppliers can receive POs from eShop electronically, and we can even do that for non-catalog items. So it's important for you to understand, we see this as a positive step toward enhancing more of our e-commerce with our suppliers. And there's more to come. The council is talking about other opportunities to enhance, like the supplier portal, things like that, which we haven't got yet, but believe me, we're working on it. So just want you to know that we're open for business and we like to do it electronically. We also like our bidding system, as I mentioned before. And this is just a simple walk through the process. Major bids, if you've ever competed on those in other companies, we try to give you an idea of what these look like. If you've never dealt with a public organization before, it would be important for us to have that conversation as well when you meet with us together or individually on the campuses. So really, I'm going to be welcoming back Stancia here to talk about our commitment to supplier diversity. We are Nebraska. I want you to know from all of us that we believe in the power of every person, and that means every supplier too. So the better we know you, the better you know us, the better the opportunity for us to do business together. Stancia, I'd love to welcome you back to talk a little bit about Executive Memo 21 and the relationship that we have with the council.
Thanks, Maggie. Thanks for inviting me back. That was great. Again, I'm going to piggyback a little bit on how Maggie closed out her remarks. You know, we talked a little bit about the importance of access and everyone having access to those things that might help them live the good life in Nebraska. And as a public institution, we want to make sure that land grant institution and member of APLU, we want to make sure that we're providing that access. And I couldn't agree with Maggie more that sometimes a portion of that access is beginning to develop those relationships. And as far as we're concerned, that whole idea of us wanting to be intentional about how we procure goods and services for the University of Nebraska and how that might benefit some of the businesses located in Nebraska, and especially our minority-owned businesses, is based a lot on relationships. So it's so important for us to engage with folks like the council, our supply chain council, and begin to develop relationships with those businesses and the minority-owned businesses in the state of Nebraska, so that not only are you aware of how to access those opportunities, but you also get accustomed to who you can go to for questions if there are goods and services in particular that you want to provide to the university. As was mentioned earlier, part of my focus and my role is taking a look at policy, practice, procedure, initiatives that might get in the way of things we want to do in the D&I space, and things we might want to elevate in conversation and do a little more intentional work around. Prior to me joining University of Nebraska, University of Nebraska always has had a long-term commitment, which was a hook for me in determining to come here, to diversity and inclusion. It dates back actually to Board of Regents back in '91, which I was surprised to learn while I was researching the institution. But we actually ratified Executive Memorandum 21, which speaks to supplier diversity here at the University of Nebraska, not long ago. And as Maggie mentioned, that was under Dr. Susan Fritz, who was our interim president and first female president, I might add, for University of Nebraska system. Yay, diversity in that aspect. Hey. But we wanted to be a lot more intentional about how we went about that. So you're welcome. Again, there's a link in this slide deck that will be shared with you in the presentation to go back and read the policy in full. But it really speaks about how do we elevate conversation and develop those relationships so we provide access. How are we more intentional about getting the word out about opportunities? How do we provide activities or partner with others to put together initiatives or programming that might give us the opportunity to develop those relationships with minority-owned businesses. Today's event is a perfect example of that, and something we want to continue to be intentional about, because diversity and inclusion is a core value of ours, and without equitable access, we won't get where we need to go, and also won't be able to be as sustainable as we need to be as an organization. And I think Scott touched on that a little bit earlier in his remarks. It's great to have a broader scope of businesses that we can access for a lot of those goods and services that we have here, that we need here at the university to keep going. It really is like running a small city. for each campus actually. So the possibilities here are endless. In fostering those relationships and partnering with MPMSDC, we also wanted to take a look at putting together a supplier diversity website, and also take a look at identifying those organizations that are certified minority-owned businesses. And we'll do some work on our part with that, but Mountain Plains Council is also a great partner in being able to identify those businesses for us and begin to make those connections. There are a few things that I'd like to mention that we're also working on as we move forward. We are in our infancy stage, but I'd like to touch a little bit on something we're really excited about working on the council with, and that's the MBE University. And next slide, please, whenever you get a moment.
Absolutely. Sorry about that.
No worries. But as I mentioned, we're in our early stages of development as it relates to supplier diversity and inclusion. And so we're at the point where we're beginning to develop our website and validating our supply list and base. And so please go into e-procurement and make sure that you're registered and can have access to all those great opportunities. And we have your information too, that so we have some baseline of who actually we have in the pool as it relates to minority-owned businesses. But we want to make sure that those values are incorporated in all we do. Another piece of being a public service university is the outreach piece. So I'd like to touch, I think that this whole idea around MBE University, not only does it touch on access, but it also touches on outreach. The right time to grow your business is always now. And that's part of what MBE University is about. We actually entered into discussion about this with Belinda back in spring of 2019, was it, Maggie? About spring of 2019, but this was a dream of the council and made perfect sense for us and our journey wanting to be more intentional about supplier diversity. So through partnership with the council, with faculty at UNO and the Small Business Development Center there, we plan to offer MBE University, which is an online platform and certification process where businesses can learn how to move from tier 1 to tier 2 and on to tier 3 in order to expand those business opportunities and be in a position to go after some of those big bids with the University of Nebraska. So again, preparing for growth, there's never a bad opportunity for that, bad time for that. The time is always now to do that. And we know with a lot of times with small, medium-sized businesses that sometimes that's a challenge to be able to step away from your business and pour time into developing yourself and your business. And so this offering will be offered online on an online platform through Canvas. We had some of our folks through NU Online Nebraska help us identify a platform to offer that on. And so we're really excited to be offering that this coming fall. We had hoped that it would be in April, but of course COVID happened. Stuff happens. And so we're gearing up to do that in August and to see if there's any tweaking in the course offerings that we want to do. And just quickly, some of the courses, there's 6 courses in total, but there's coursework focused on planning for growth, managing your money, customer relationship management, and also getting to those big dollar bids, how you key yourself up for that. So that is something we are extremely, extremely excited about. We know that small and medium-owned businesses account for a lot of the growth in our economy. We're having some fits and starts because of the pandemic that we're in. But when you help a small, medium-sized business grow, you elevate not only that business, but you elevate that community, because that in turn provides opportunity for increased hiring and helps grow the business and ultimately helps impact the state of Nebraska so we can all live the good life. So With that, I'm going to pass it back off to Maggie, and please stay tuned for more information on how you can register for MBE University if that's of interest to you.
Thank you, Stanthia. And might I add, I owe an apology because I don't think I got a slide in there for the university, but you said it very well. So let me just reemphasize to everyone what an honor it is to be working at a university that has the capability and the beautiful idea that was brought forward by the council, by Belinda and Stan, to create an education platform. I'm not so sure, Belinda, but this might be the first of its kind. You can tell me if I'm right or wrong, but we're pretty honored as a university to be delivering this, to help facilitate this for the Mountain Plains Council. And I think it's a rare opportunity. So, you know, tap Belinda. She'll help you understand how to get registered, because I don't have a link in this presentation, but I can't say enough about the council and their desire to help you help your business, except that the fact that we're here today with the council, that should speak volumes to you about our belief in what we can do together. We can do so much more together as four campuses with the council. So if I didn't say it enough already, and Robert said it, and Lynn said it, and everyone else said it, register your business in eBid if you haven't done it already. It's very easy. And make sure you keep your profile up to date, okay? It's wise to do that because, you know, like with social media and everything else, you don't build a website and ignore it. You've got to make sure that your data stays fresh and current. So you want to make sure you're seeing the kind of categories and bids that you want to walk through. It is very easy. Don't be intimidated. Call me if you have questions, or anybody else that offered that on the call today. Schedule, after today's call, we're going to work with Belinda and the council to schedule one-on-one sessions. So these are going to be opportunities for suppliers to meet with our buyers, learn about upcoming projects, tell us more about your company, who to contact, and please, please, please continue your efforts on working with the council and get certified for your own health and for the health of our economy and our communities. Now more than ever, I will tell you that the most creative and entrepreneurial ideas and organizations are the ones going to make a difference in the marketplace. And, you know, like everyone has said, I just have to say ditto. We need those kinds of thinkers, you know, problem solvers. So help us work with our teams, pitch a service or product we don't even know we need yet. You know, help us identify opportunities. Perhaps you're better at being a subcontractor to some of our prime contractors if you're in the facilities or construction area. You know, get tips from us for your approach, because we'll help figure out how you fit in, and help educate us on your capabilities and network with us, please. So Belinda, I think I am getting to the point now where I think we would like to take questions.
Awesome. And Maggie, and to the whole university team, want to say thank you so very much. So you asked the question regarding the MBE University. Yes, it is the first of its kind for the Mountain Plains Minority Supplier Development Council. So certainly we want to thank the University of Nebraska. We also want to thank Denver Public Schools and also the Weiss Foundation. It is a huge undertaking to put on this kind of MBE University. And so thank you for that. And certainly we're always looking for additional corporations to help support the diverse and our minority business community. So we're going to get right to some questions. Are you ready? Yes, yeah. You are. Okay, thank you. So, so let's go with this. First question, looking at the time, will you please explain which department procures professional engineering services? Who would like to take that question?
I'll be happy to go for that. And then if anybody wants to fill in, because I think it's going to depend, but I think it would be our facilities management operations that would be doing that. And so the best person for us to connect you with would be the facilities category team. We actually have strategic teams that work in category groupings. And I think, Belinda, one of the things I was thinking, if that supplier would like to connect with them. It might be good for us to have that one-on-one with that category team to talk about their organization and then schedule an introduction. So our facilities and construction operations.
Thank you for that, Maggie. Now, some of the questions were submitted anonymously, and so it's so very important in order for us to get back with you directly. If you're still submitting questions, please go ahead and put your name, and so we can make sure that if the answer is not here in today's format, we want to make sure that we get that answer to you. Next question. Do you coordinate among your campuses any types of like items or services, such as printers or office services or construction services? Who would like to take that question?
I don't want to volunteer anybody but Lynn or somebody. Does anyone else want to step in on that?
I absolutely will.
Thanks.
So this is Lynn on the UNO campus. So yes, we'd like to coordinate as much as we possibly can. A perfect example of that is our prime supplier contracts. We don't individually go out as campuses and solicit our own contracts for office supplies. We do that as a university system.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much, Lynn, for that. Let me go to the next question. Because of COVID-19, are there any goods or services you are specifically looking for in preparing for classes? Who would like to take that question?
I'll take that one. I mean, if you got a garage full of N95s made by 3M, please give me a call. I mean,
okay, thank you. Okay, that's Robert. That's Robert.
I'd like to add to that, just so that the supplier is aware. It has been a little chaotic, and so luckily the Supply Chain Council, we instituted weekly meetings so we could just stay on top of some of these things. And, some of the opportunities, trying to get things back on campuses. I know Lynn set up a special page on their eShop website internally for internal people to submit what they're requesting. We're all scrambling to get what we need forward to fall. So if you sell any of those products, we're going to want to hear from you. To echo what Robert said.
Awesome. Thank you for that. Let me get to another question here. And this is probably maybe even more so for Stancia. So Stancia, get ready. Does the University of Nebraska system, or it could be Maggie, recognize Tier 2 diversity spend? Is there a preference for either Tier 1 or Tier 2?
Well, Stancia, if you don't want to take it, you there still, hon?
I think we can both tackle that one.
Okay.
Preference at this time, no. As we mentioned, we're in the infancy stage of actually getting our supplier diversity program going at this particular time. And I would pass it off to Maggie if regarding the recognition of spend, because we're actually still in the process of putting actually our baseline on where on what actually our spend has been to date as it relates to MBE businesses. And so that's part of the reason why we're out here actually trying to develop these relationships, encourage folks to go in and register so we can begin to build upon those businesses, at least those that are included in e-procurement and e-bid system.
Yes, and for what that's worth, to just continue on, Tier 1 would be the preference right now, but Tier 2 is absolutely a huge opportunity. In fact, we're talking already about hosting some get-to-know networking events with key specific areas in the university that need, that hire, like I was going to add on engineering and architectural contracts and things of that nature. We do buy those a little bit differently than we do general construction projects and those types of things. So I think that any of you that are interested in that type of business, we definitely are looking at that on a focused level. And the university has a new vice president over the facilities operations, and the assistant vice president in that area. We meet, constantly talking about ways we can do a better job in this area. So subcontracting is definitely a huge opportunity in the facilities construction area, and I think we'll be planning on tracking that as we move forward. But Stancy is right. We're still working on establishing our baseline. We want to be accurate when we put it out there. We know we work with diverse suppliers today, and we want to. We just don't want to put inaccurate information out there before we're ready. So.
Thank you for answering that, both Stancia and Maggie. Let me move to another question real quick. Probably Stancia, this would be more so for you. Does the university have particular MBE goals? I know you're in your infancy stage in terms of putting everything together. Is there a particular goal that you're trying to achieve to make sure, certainly you're out there in the community and making this happen, but do you have any particular goals that you want to make sure that's achieved?
We have not set aside goals in that regard. Part of that, we know we are, because we're in the state of Nebraska, we are a non-affirmative action state, and so there are, we do need to shy away from anything that might give the impression that we're actually having certain set-asides or reaching toward a particular goal. But as I mentioned earlier, because we don't have a good handle on what our spend has been to date, and we know that there's the work to be done in increasing the spend with minority-owned businesses, for us, quite frankly, is pretty immense right now. We want to make sure that we're increasing the spend in that area. So again, more specifically to your point, there's not a goal, and that's strictly because of where we reside legally as an organization. But we will be taking a look at, once we establish that baseline, increasing that from year to year, what our spend is with minority-owned businesses.
Thank you for that, Stancia. Just a couple other questions as we're going to be wrapping up here, looking at the time. As the council, as you know, the council has 4 areas that we're in: Colorado, Nebraska, Kansas, and Western Missouri. Is it important for the University of Nebraska? Do you have to reside there in Nebraska to be able to do business with Nebraska?
So I'll be happy to take that, but anybody else that wants to back up on that, feel free. Scott, Lynn, Robert. We do have a desire to work with local businesses, but let me say that residents' preference, this is kind of a complex topic. We periodically find ourselves in a room talking about it. It's all things considered equal. What we try to do, especially on bids, and Sarah, you're out there cringing as I try to say this, but when we bid, we look at the essence of the bid and ensure that the fairness of the decision equals the same residential preference as the state that that particular supplier might reside in. Let me just give you an example, not to confuse the topic, but we've been demoing a few buildings here on this campus as not as fast as the Med Center. They just build stuff left, right, and all over. One of the most beautiful med centers I've ever seen too. But we demoed a building a year and a half ago, a very historic living facility, residential facility, and it was awarded to a supplier that was not a resident of the state. This happens quite often. We're looking for the best overall product and service for the university. There was a resident bidder question against that, and we followed the protocol according to law. If you'd like to read our state statutes on it, I'm happy to send you that information. But we are open for business, and you do not have to be a resident in our state to win business and receive business from the university.
So listen, that's a very good answer, Maggie. Thank you. Mm-hmm. So let me ask another question here. 4 campuses, I need to go into eBid as a supplier. So then what's next? Am I notified that I have registered Do I get opportunities then emailed to me? And then finally, how do I develop a relationship with a Robert, with a Carol, with a Lynn, with Scott, with you, Maggie, with you, Stancia? How does that happen? If you could wrap us up with that on this relationship building.
Lynn or Robert, you want to take the, we can make it a two-part question if you want.
I'll start.
Okay.
So once you register for the bidding tool, and by the way, what the system is going to do when you register is ask you a multitude of questions about your organization, including if you are minority owned, etc. And please answer those questions. And then it's going to give you a list of a huge list of commodities, if you will, and click on any of those that you possibly feel could pertain to your business. And then when we issue a bid, if it is within that commodity range, you will get an email notification that there is a bid opportunity available to you. And so that is why, as Maggie pointed out, it is so very important that you go in on a periodic basis and be sure that your information in the system is up to date. So if a member of your organization leaves or you have an email address changed, be sure that you go in there and update the system so that somebody is getting that notification.
That says it all, Lynn.
Mm-hmm. Now talk a little bit about that relationship building, and then Maggie, I want you to end with this question. You mentioned about getting down to business. Yes, there's a different process, or more involved, should I say, when those bids get over 150,000. Yeah. But know that there could be some bigger opportunities for those bids that are under the $150,000 threshold. So can you talk about the relationship building, and then close us out with how to go after maybe those smaller thresholds in order to do business?
Sure. Well, I'd like to have anybody who wants to throw in on this, but a couple of years ago, the council started some teams. We call them, they're strategic category teams. And in 3 key areas that we purchase, and by the way, it's not exhaustive because we buy a lot of stuff. I think the key here is, depending on where you're located, you may want to walk in or set up something with what would be convenient for you, because any one of the people on this call will be happy and proud to introduce you to the rest of the university if they feel they don't have opportunities ready for you immediately. And you know, we can always end this world of virtualness, right? As much as you might be tired of Zoom meetings, actually they make it really efficient for us to quickly get on a call together and talk to you as a group. So, you know, a follow-up from this today could just be a group call where we get a chance to meet your company, which was what we were talking about, Belinda, is scheduling those one-on-ones. So we share information with each other about good suppliers, and we see that information, who's buying what from whom. And in major spend areas, we do a really good job about coordinating that, as Lynn said. These major category teams, they meet on a monthly basis and work on several projects for cross-campus spend to leverage our purchasing power together rather than just look at it. I mean, if you need masks at the Med Center, you probably, with PPE, we needed them at UNO, Kearney, and Lincoln too. So, you know, that collaboration, just letting each other know, we're not close, you know, we talk a lot. Let me put it that way. I'm not sure if that answers your question fully, but it's really a matter of helping us understand who you are, and we'll help kind of find where we need to direct you.
Awesome. And so in order to give Clifton, our IT expert, an opportunity to show each one of you one more time, I want you to be thinking about this question.
Okay.
You could share one success tip in working with a minority-owned supplier. What would that success tip be in working with the University of Nebraska? We're going to start first with Stancia, since she's right immediately.
Everyone turn their cameras on, please.
Yes. So we can, and that way Clifton can point right directly to you. Thank you. So Stancia, if everyone would turn their video on so Clifton can point directly to you when it comes to you, that would be greatly appreciated. So Stancia, if we could start with you, one success tip that you would leave with everyone today.
One success tip I would do is, I would leave everyone with is, as much as we are trying to expand our outreach, don't be afraid to approach or reach out to us and begin to establish those relationships. It's great that there's a multitude of campuses where there are business possibilities, but it's a huge organization, can be huge to navigate sometimes. So I would encourage folks as much as they are able to take advantage of any opportunity to build those relationships and have those discussions about the needs for the university. But relationship building, and don't be afraid to reach out, because this really is a priority for us here at the University of Nebraska, and has become more so here in the past few weeks as we've seen the impact that this whole pandemic has had on our economy. So we want to make sure that no one is left behind when it comes to recovery. So that relationship building is what I would say.
Awesome. Thank you so very much, Stancia. Lynn, one success tip.
Absolutely. Stancia really hit the nail on the head of don't be afraid to reach out, but I'm going to expand upon that and say, if you would have told me 4 months ago that I was going to need truckloads of hand sanitizer, I would have told you were a crazy person. So have patience and understand that there is a need for your sales and services. It just might not be today. It might be a year or a month down the road.
Awesome. So be patient. Absolutely. Let's hear from you. I'm going to go to Scott, then Robert, and then Carol, in that order. Scott.
Thank you, Belinda. To piggyback off both Stancia and Lynn, I think I would add, in addition to building that relationship with the decision maker specifically, that is crucial. I think ensuring when you're coming in with your pitch, you're identifying a need quickly and you're matching that exact need as closely as you can with the product or service you have to offer. Oftentimes I'll see a supplier come in and they give me the whole gamut, and I'm looking for this one little thing. I don't want the whole gamut, I just want that one little thing. So being quick to realize what that need is, matching it with a product or service is my tip.
Awesome, thank you. So identify the need and being able to match that. Thank you so very much. So we've learned about being patient, we've learned about matching the need, etc. So let's go to Robert, then Carol, and then Maggie. Robert.
I think one of the big keys is if you do decide that you want to come in and bid, do a complete package so that when we see what your bid is, that first impression is very important to us. We've had small businesses come in here before and bid on projects, and their packages were not complete, and it makes it difficult for us to be able to go down that direction if the paperwork and all the T's aren't and the I's aren't dotted. So my suggestion would be is if you're going to jump into the pool, you got to go all in, you know. So first impressions are important.
Absolutely. So we've learned about being patient, identifying the need, and making sure that the package is completed. Absolutely. Carol, are you still with us? Can you share a success tip that you would leave?
I don't think I have anything to add. I am just going to echo everybody else's. And again, we are, as I said, 4 campuses in one university, and we are about collaboration. So as you get to know us all, we will also continue to talk and look for ways to engage you in our business.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so very much for that, Carol. And then I'm going to go to Maggie.
Well, I could do this again and say ditto, but I'm going to add a couple of tips that I've had over the years. First off, it's more than one, because I'm sorry, you know me, Belinda, I can't do one of anything. I just, especially with something I love. I'm passionate for this, people. Suppliers, this means a lot to me. So everything everyone else said, please follow through and try not to get discouraged. If you find yourself getting discouraged, reach out, let me know, let one of us know, because if there's a frustration on your behalf, it means we're not communicating and there's something you need to understand about how to do business with us. And then do what you say you'll do. And we've got the roadmap. We can help you understand pretty much everything from accounts payable to how to get a PO and everything else. And that's what we wanted to make sure you came away from today knowing. So I hope that helps.
Absolutely. So thank you for that. And I'm going to close this out in the last few minutes that we have today. This was history in the making because this was absolutely the first time that we were able to bring all 4 campuses together. Even if we were in Omaha, we probably would not have had necessarily the Med Center or Kearney or things of that nature. So one, I want to say thank you on behalf of the council to the University of Nebraska, all 4 campuses, for you all taking your time out today. Certainly we want to say thank you for Stancia and the board leadership, being on our board of directors, and then also for just supporting the council, its initiatives, and its mission. As we close out, certainly I might be on this phone where you all see me live on the video, but please know that I do not stand alone. Our president and CEO of the Mountain Plains Council is Mr. Stan Senna. We also have Marvin Lyman out of our KC office, who is our business development and corporate relations manager. We have Tashana Dawkins, who you probably received the invite from in terms of being registered today, and we'll be following up accordingly. We also have Andrew Porty, who is our new MBE Services Development Manager. In addition to that, we have Randy McCall, who is the director of the MBDA, the Minority Business Development Agency, and our very own also Marjorie Williams, who has been conducting several workshops that we just had recently on your 30-second elevator pitch. Without this, we wouldn't have been able to have this particular event without Clifton Clark, who is behind the scenes. Maybe you have heard his voice. Clifton is with Computer Decisions, also certified minority-owned business, and so we want to say thank you to Clifton. In this COVID environment, the council has not missed a beat, which I'm very, very proud of. We have had 3 town halls. We've had multiple workshops. We've had 3 access opportunity events now with the University of Nebraska, and we have more in store. If you haven't received, for those of you who are on the council's website, we encourage you to go there. Our next event is scheduled for Tuesday, June 30th, where we're going to be bringing an Access to Capital event. And we're going to be having Ruben Alonzo, who is with the president of AllCap, Clarence Nichols, who is the senior vice president of Bank of Blue Valley, Alan Ramirez, who is the director of lending for the Colorado Enterprise Fund, and Stephen White with the SBA, who is the lead lender relations. It's so important to make sure that we keep presenting opportunities, not only for our corporate members, but also for our minority-owned businesses. So with that, again, this was history in the making. And I certainly want to thank the time that you have spent in, but I want to thank all of you who registered and who participated in today's event. If there's anything that you need, please reach out to the council. You can feel free to go onto our website, www.mpmsdc.org, where you can reach us. You can certainly reach out to us during this COVID environment, and we will make sure that we get back to you. As a follow-up to this meeting, for all those who have registered, we will be working with Maggie and the whole team to make sure that we schedule one-on-one. So be looking for that. That will be the next step. And as Stancia mentioned, we are very proud of the MB University, which we will be bringing back in the fall to our certified MBEs, particularly at our Class 1 level. So with that, please be safe, continue to be safe. Let's treat each other right and make sure that we keep pushing the business forward. Want to thank you so very much today, and we look forward to seeing you at the next virtual event. Thank you, everyone, and be good, be safe.
Thank you, Belinda.
Thank you.